Welcome back to Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Prime Time Production. This is episode 24. I am your host, Chris Davis. You can follow me at Drop Mitts Hockey, and I am with my co-host, Tommy Bennett. Tommy, how you doing, buddy?
I am good, man. It is just a nice Wednesday. Just getting over being sick, which sucks, but it is what it is. That's just the nature of winter. And just enjoying this Bruins-Devils game here on TNT. Just wrapped up doing the pregame stuff with Brett over at Primetime Productions. And now I'm here to record a juicy episode. Lots of fun stuff has happened around the league.
Slow period, dude. I mean, same here. I'm sitting here watching.
It was low event.
Yeah, but nice goal by Geeky, so we'll take it. But
nice goal by Geeky. Very bad rebound to give up if you're like that is just not, and that's something we touched on the pregame. Their goaltending has just been bad, and that's just a prime example of why it's been bad.
Yeah, you can't let the puck hit you in the glove when you're literally one-on-one with James Van Riemsdyk. You got to come down with those. But anyways, we have a lot of news.
Yes.
Just last night, man, after the game, St. Louis decided to part ways with Craig Berube. Honestly, I think this was kind of like an inevitable move. It just seems like this rebuild is coming a little bit faster than expected. But what were your initial thoughts when you saw the news of his firing?
He got fired for the manager's incompetence. That is why. I'm sorry, that's just why. Like, as a Bruins fan, I'll always be bitter about 2019. That's just the way it is. But that was a long time ago. But I don't think Berube's like a bad coach. I think it's more of the way the roster is constructed. Like, some of the moves they made are very head-scratching. Like, you look at the Justin Falk acquisition, and then you paid him all that money. Well, that money could have went to Alex Pietrangelo. Well, Alex Pietrangelo has another Stanley Cup, and you're teeter-tottering around 500 right now. Then you got like all these other like weird moves, like trading for Hayes. You brought in Vrana. You waived Vrana. It's just weird. It's a weirdly constructed.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad you brought up the Pietrangelo thing, because I really feel like that is when this franchise kind of took a turn for the worst. I don't know if you agree with that, but man, like this franchise really has not been anywhere close to what it was in those 2019, 2020 years.
Dude, even before that, they were at least a perennial contender. David Backes, Vladimir Tarasenko, like the whole 9 yards. Like they were a very, what's the right word? Consistent team. And now it's just a weird roster. I think it's good. You're led by Kyrou and Thomas, and Buchnevich is a nice add there. But other than that, I mean, even the Torrey Krug contract, like that's another one. Like I think he might even be on the trading block. It's just a weirdly constructed roster, and I don't think Berube is the guy who necessarily needed to go. But like you've seen with other teams this year, you've seen the Oilers do it. You've seen the Minnesota Wild do it. You fire the coach and maybe bring in a new voice, and you hope for the best.
Yeah, well, you wonder if it's going to provide like a little bit of spark to that team. Like you saw it with, obviously it's a little bit of a different scenario in Edmonton, right? Where they relieve Woodcroft, and all of a sudden McDavid is fucking on fire and he's back to his old ways. But yeah, man, I agree. It's a weirdly constructed roster, and it's one of those rosters where you have talented pieces, but it feels like there's just too much missing. You know what I mean? And again, even just being a big prospect guy, looking at what they have in the pipeline, it's like, 2023 they were able to snag Dalibor Dvorsky, 10th overall. Another guy, first round 2022, Jimmy Snuggerud from Minnesota, who he's fucking filthy. So it's not like they don't have anything coming up, but it's just, I feel like this move was, you said it best, dude. Like, this was the GM incompetence. Like, I knew this move was coming, unfortunately, because I really do like Craig Berube as a coach. I think he's a fantastic coach. I think he's just ultimately the one that's going to fall on the sword for this.
Yeah, Yeah.
But and hopefully it'll be interesting to see what direction this team goes in. Because
Well,
like you said, you're not. It's going to be really hard to move a contract like Torrey Krug.
Well, and he's got trade protection, and they tried to do that in the offseason, and I don't blame him. Like that's his right having that in the contract. Like he doesn't want to move.
Yeah,
And
no,
he's not and I'm not saying like I mean Philadelphia could have been fun because look how they're playing, but like what if he doesn't want to live there? Like, there's bigger things than just playing the game of hockey. And between that Parayko and even Nick Leddy, like those are not easy movable contracts.
see, man, the thing about Colton Parayko is like there was a point in time where I thought he was a top 10 defenseman.
I did too. He was very strong defensively, like a really big guy, has a nice hard shot,
Yeah,
can
and
produce a little bit, but ever since like Jay Bouwmeester and Alex Pietrangelo left, it just hasn't really been the same. And those contracts aren't easy to move. I
yeah,
mean, and like Buchnevich is actually a good contract, and they actually didn't really have to give up a lot to get him. So it's just it is what it is. But they're a weird team. They'll like win a game, lose a game, win three, lose three, inconsistent. And you can't even say anything about Binnington. He's been pretty good this year.
well, that was actually my next question to you was, does this kind of expedite the, um, I guess, is it more likely that they move a Jordan Binnington, right? Because I feel like there's going to be a pretty big need for goaltending for some teams that are going to be able to make runs down the stretch. Do they like at this point? Do they have to move Bennington?
I don't think they have to. I mean, it depends what you want to do. Like, what are you gonna like? What's your plan? Are you retooling, or did you just fire your coach and you are bringing in a new voice and you're hoping for the best, or are you just tearing down what you can and getting value for what you can and like completely rebuilding? It totally depends what direction they really want to go.
I don't think this
It,
is a
it,
roster that can
they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not
compete.
a playoff team. They're not a they'll compete because they can compete. They've shown they can this year. They're just inconsistent, and they're not going to be a playoff team. It just depends. I mean, I think if a team maybe wants Bennington, maybe they'll come after him. But I don't know. It depends what the GM wants to do and what direction he wants to take the team.
See, I'm a big fan of Robert Thomas. I really like him. I forgot he was on the team. Jake Neighbors is really good.
Yeah,
Brendan Saad.
that contract sucks too. No one's taking that right now, and they're
Robert
not going to
Thomas.
part. Yeah, no one's going to take that contract right now, and nobody's going to trade for him. And
No,
I can't see the
he's still a
Blues
good player. He's worth
and
that money.
the
I think he's
Blues
just
and the Blues aren't going to trade him. They,
no.
if anything, those are the guys they're going to build around is
Yeah, they
uh,
absolutely should not
Kyrou
move
and Tom.
Robert Thomas at this. Like he's worth every penny of that contract for sure. Um, Kevin Hayes. I wonder what if he's still making that fucking egregious money.
Philly retained.
Most of it.
They retained, I think, half of it.
Even still, that's still a lot of fucking money for a third line. That's a lot of dough.
Oh, Canada set the World Junior Hockey Championship roster.
Dude, that
I just got the notification.
yeah, well, I think
Oh wait, they're hopeful that. So based on this, it's like Canada named 12 forwards, 7 defensemen, 3 goalies. The team is hopeful that Zach Benson or Matthew Patra will be loaned.
mhm.
They're just, but that so they're trying to see if they can pull like a 13th forward just to. But the official roster is Owen Beck, Nate Danielson, Macklin Celebrini, Matthew Wood, Carson, Ray Kopf, Owen Allard, Jordan Dumais, Matthew Savoy, Easton Cowan, Connor Geeky, Braden Yeager. Defenseman, Tristan Luneau, Jake Furlong, Noah Warren, Oliver Bonk, Tanner Molendyke, Maverick Lamoureux,
Lamoureux, yeah.
Denton Matichuk, goaltenders, Ratzlaff, Rousseau, and Saint Hilaire, whoever that is.
I
But
really
yeah,
hope that they can get Patra and Benson. I really hope they get the
I
opportunity
don't
to play.
I don't think the Bruins do that.
Sucks, man. It sucks because it's a once in a lifetime tournament for him. And I think it'd be a really good break. Sitting him up on the ninth floor, whatever if he decides to do that again. But I think loaning him for the entirety of this tournament would be really good for him. I think both mentally and just a good break, dude. Like again, for him to be able to go back and play for his home country, and play against his peers, and you can assume he'd do fairly well. But yeah, it's unfortunate, and who knows what Sabres do with Benson because obviously they're out of it. So it's probably a little bit more likely that they loan Benson for that tourney. But yeah, what are your thoughts on those two?
I mean, I think it just depends more on the team's like circumstances per se. I mean, I think just anytime you're a hockey player and you have the opportunity to play for your respective country, I feel like that's just a tremendous honor. And it doesn't matter if you're World Juniors or you're just an NHLer in the Olympics. Like, players take a lot of pride in that. They take a lot of pride in being able to play for their home country. And I mean, if they can, great. But I think it's all on the team circumstances. Like for the Bruins, I feel like they need Matthew Poitras, so I don't know if they do that. With Buffalo, I feel like they can get away with it, loaning Zach Benson because kind of the status of their team.
Yeah.
I mean, both have had really nice rookie years, and just depends on the team's circumstances at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I think about what the Bruins have coming up, and it might be a nice opportunity to give another kid a chance to kind of play while Patra's away. Like what you have in Patra right now. I mean, he's not going anywhere. He can't go anywhere. Can't go down to the AHL, so he's stuck on that roster. It might be a nice opportunity to, allow another one of these prospects or kids to get an opportunity to play a little bit. Because let's be real here. I mean, Monty has had no problem sending him up to the ninth floor, right? And even
which isn't. I don't think it's a bad thing though.
It's not. It's not. I mean, it's all part of development, dude. Like it's all part of growing pains. That's all it is. It's not a slack. It's not, a punishment on Patra. It's all part of development. I mean, every single player goes through ups and downs, especially as a 19-year-old kid. Like I don't read into that at all. The benching of the third period, like listen, Monty sees something, right? And it's ultimately his choice at the end of the day. And I just think that is it going to make or break our season if Matthew Patra is playing in the World Juniors? I highly doubt it. I don't think so at all. Especially if
it's not. It just depends how long Zach is out for.
Yeah, no, and I think once
that's really ultimately like the problem is like, Zach is out. I mean, they're doing fine right now, but
yeah, honestly, I would
down the road.
Yeah, I would like to see like John Farinacci get a look at some point. Obviously, the Merkulov situation. Like, I'd love to see him get a look. I don't know how you'd finagle the lines to make it work, but
you'd sit a Steen or you'd sit like a Lauco. I mean, that's really it. I mean, you're not touching your top three lines. You're just not.
Well, I'm saying if Patra gets loaned to Canada.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can either put Merkulov on wherever he's slotted, or you just slide Beecher up, and that's it. I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah,
you just figure it out. I mean, just next man in, and keep Dak on the top, keep Coyle on his line, put Patra or put whoever where Patra is, and let Beecher do his thing. I mean, it's really not. Hard. No, it's not confusing. But it'll be interesting. I mean, I hope either player gets the opportunity to, represent their country.
Yeah, and honestly, it's going to be such a loaded tournament with talent that it would be kind of a bummer not to be able to see our guy represented, right? Because he'd probably be one of the best players on that team. Which would be cool, but it is what it is, and obviously they're going to make that decision. But I don't know if you had the chance to look at that U.S. roster, man. We kind of went over it last week.
We went over it. I didn't get the official.
Yeah, dude, and I know this week they're going through camp and everything, so they haven't released the final roster. But man, they were fucking loaded, and yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
the projected one we did was loaded.
I mean, it was I thought it was a little bit more just well rounded than Canada was. Especially
Yeah.
defensively, like we mentioned, like Lane Hudson, Seamus Casey. Yeah, it's going to be such a fun tournament to watch. I think it's like 2 weeks away now at this point, but um, I don't know if you had the chance to watch. I know you had covered. You were on the Drop the Mitts page when it happened. Um, John Tavares' 1,000th point.
Yeah,
Um,
I published that once it happened.
man, I was watching that shit, man, and he was not getting many cheers in that place, man. Like there is
Dude,
no.
he got booed, dude. They put him on the jumbotron and he got booed. That shit was, dude. The Islanders fans still fucking hate that guy.
I mean,
And I'm like, I look, you know what? Can't, I can't blame them. I really can't. Like the way that went down, like that was your franchise player, that was your captain. I get it. I'm not gonna like go against how they feel because if that was like Patrice Bergeron doing that, I would probably lose my fucking mind.
yeah,
Like, imagine if Bergeron was like, "Yeah, I'm assigned," then goes to fucking Dallas or something. Like, I would be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like,
well,
but anyways, like, it was just so funny. They put him on the jumbotron and they booed like the shit out of him, and I'm like, "Man, these people still fucking hate this guy."
bro, you said
But
it.
it was so poetic that he hit 1,000 on Long Island.
You knew it was
It
gonna
was so
happen though,
poetic.
dude.
It
It's
was
like one of
so
those Cinderella story. Like it's like,
it's so poetic, dude. It
yeah,
was so
dude.
poetic. I put out the poll the same day. I was like, is he really gonna hit 1,000? I was like, he scored that goal, and I was like, damn, he really could like hit 1,000. And of course, he hit it on the game tying goal. Did you see the celebration?
No, I didn't even get the opportunity
Dude,
to see that.
it was hilarious. Dude, it was hilarious. He was looking like Matthews like cut in, and he was like looking for Marner the whole fucking way. It was so damn funny. Like he just did not give two shits that Matthews is there. But Toronto, of course, loses the game in overtime because they can't fucking win in regulation, even though they put fucking 7 on the Rangers last night.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I did get from that entire thing was I thought it was a really cool moment when they showed his dad. Um,
That was cool.
I always love seeing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's like these guys go through this whole journey and everything, and what their parents and like dads and moms mean to them. It's always cool to see.
Yeah.
It kind of brings a tear to your eye, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
it's awesome to see. But I was in talking about the booing, man. I was listening. I actually it was a TikTok I think from Mike Bartner, who obviously he's a big Islanders guy, and Biz was giving, Islanders fans like a ton of shit, being like, saying like,
Dude,
"Who the
he
fuck do you guys think you are?" Like, and it's like, are they
yeah.
not allowed to be fans anymore? Like,
I mean, to a degree, I'm just like, okay, like hitting 1,000 points is hitting 1,000 points in the NHL. Like that's remarkable. Hate
yes,
the guy all you want, but at least acknowledge like the fact that he did that. Like that doesn't happen a lot. Like
but dude,
hitting 1,000 points in the NHL is hitting 1,000 points. But yeah, Biz just fucking the beliefs guy.
this is where I disagree though. I think any other player in any other situation where if that would have happened, besides John Tavares, he would have got a standing out.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Listen, this is and Mike
It's
Bartner said
literally
it best.
because it's
He
Tavares.
strung them along for an entire season, right?
I know.
And you mentioned it, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm signing. Oh, New York. Oh, didn't then all of a sudden the Islanders weren't able to get anything for him, nothing. Where realistically, if they would have known that he was signing in Toronto, they would have fucking shipped him out
Yeah.
in a heartbeat to at least get something, and he didn't allow that for the
Dude,
Islanders.
you-
That's
yeah, so
horrible.
so here's the funniest thing I think about all that. And like it sucks for Islanders like and again, I get why they're mad. I do. I don't like disagree with them. the funniest fucking thing was the Islanders have been more successful without him than with him.
Yes,
That's the funniest part. That's the funniest thing. They
was
saved the $11 million per year and literally went to 2 conference finals back to back.
yeah,
They didn't do shit with him. And what did he do? He went to Toronto and wasn't the savior that he needed. Yeah, he's the guy who got the goal to go to round 2. They got smoked in round 2 and almost had no business winning that round 1. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
I just think it's so funny. Like, they hate the guy because he spurned them, but they had better success without him. And Toronto really hasn't done shit with him.
No, and it's actually, if you think
Honestly.
about it, I think they're actually going to be fucked over because they have that contract, because they're losing a guy like Willie Nylander.
That was never going to age well. And Nylander
No.
took a lot less because it was all they could afford, and he had to be the guy that took whatever crumbs were left.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be that guy this time.
Nor should he.
Leave. Yeah, he shouldn't. But
go make your fucking bag.
But you knew when Tavares signed that deal, like, you knew it was going to age poorly. There was no, like, oh, wow, this is a good contract. Like, yeah, it's good if you do something with it in the first, like, 4 years, which you didn't.
Well,
now you're just cap strapped, and it just is what it is. But I feel bad for the Leafs because they're without Joseph Woll.
Dude, that and honestly, I thought that was going to be their only, like, saving grace, right? Like, hey, maybe, like, down the stretch, like, Wall can steal them games, right? Like, now I don't think there's any chance, right? There's no fucking
I don't
way.
know. I mean, Samsonov hasn't played bad, like, as of late.
But it's a matter if he can keep consistency. That's been his issue. He's a very inconsistent goaltender. The way you were talking about Vitek Vanacek is Ilya Samsonov. He's inconsistent.
His last start was like Black Friday, and then he hasn't played till like December 9th, and he's basically just 1-0-1. I mean, his numbers aren't great, but yeah, it's like you said, it's about consistency. Really big blow for Joseph Woll, because, man, he really could have been like a Calder, like, finalist, like the way he was playing. Like, he was
absolutely,
like, I root for him, man. Like he was a good goalie, and, like, as much as I mean, shitting on the Leafs is just fun, but, like, dude, like, I root for that kid, man. Like, I really do. Like,
yeah.
I mean, and it just sucks to see him go down. And it was such a harmless play. Like, he was just getting over it. His skate hit the post, and he just ended up with the ankle. And I was like, damn, that sucks. Like, he's actually really fun to watch.
Yeah,
like, he's been a really good goalie for them. And, as much as, like, the jokes kind of write themselves about the Leafs, it was like they finally maybe have something in net, which is something they haven't really been able to say.
Yeah, which a crazy, like, visual I saw, and I just pulled it up. Highest rookie save percentage, right? So it's the last 10 seasons with a minimum of 39% of games played, which is equal to 32 games in an 82 game season.
Okay.
No, so he's sitting tied for 7th all time, or in the last 10 seasons. We're looking. Number 1 is in 2021. Nedeljkovic had a 932.
I remember that.
Which was an unreal run.
That was just retarded. Well, it's also good too when you're playing behind that fucking structure.
Yes. Number 2, St. Louis Blues, 2019. Jordan Bennington had a 927.
Yeah.
Tied for 3rd in 2017, Matt Murray had a 923, and Elvis Merzlikins had a 923. 5th was 2016, John Gibson had a 920. 6th was 2021, Ilya Sorokin, 918. And then, obviously, Joseph Woll this year, 916, was tied with Shesterkin in 2021 with a 916.
Dang, that's some pretty nice company.
Which is,
because if you look at all those goalies, and you really break down those seasons, like, they all have very, very good seasons for very good reasons.
Oh,
so
dude.
for him to be in that class, like, good for him. Like, I hope he comes back. I hope he plays really well, and hope he ends up being the answer for them in net because they need a goalie.
Yeah, and honestly, like the way even where he was picked too, like that would be a steal for them. Like if he ended up being a legitimate starting goaltender. Because
I
yeah,
think he
let's
can.
say that again, bud.
I really think he can. I mean, he was really good last playoffs. Like he actually outperformed Samsonov, and he really got thrown in there. It wasn't like it was a just play a game. Like he really was thrown in there, and he played well. Like I mean, you want to root for the kid, you really do. Like
Yeah,
I mean, I don't hate the Leafs as like a hockey team. I hate the way the media portrays them. I've actually tried explaining this to people, and people are like, "You're a Bruins fan. You hate the Leafs." No, dude, I hate the way that the media portrays the Leafs. That's why I just wish them to be just miserable, honestly. Because, I mean, the media acts like they've done something. They haven't done shit. Like, let's just
yeah,
pump the brakes. Like,
yeah. Well,
you are only getting pumped up because your name is the Toronto Maple Leafs. That core group hasn't even achieved anything remotely close to greatness. So, but you want to root for a guy like Joseph Woll. You do.
yeah,
And
you never
I
want to
hope
see
he
a
comes
kid
back.
like that.
Well, not even that. It's just he's good. And you want to see him thrive.
Yeah,
And I hope he can.
yeah. I mean, obviously, I think they have a lot of work to do as far as trying to reassemble this roster, and I don't know.
They are heavily involved in defense right now. Like
Yeah,
if there's a person out there, they are. I mean, I've seen Ethan Bear, I've seen Rasmus Ristolainen, which it makes no
ugh,
fucking sense. It's the only
God,
reason why that makes sense is Trey Living. He came out and was just like, yeah, trading for rentals is fine, but like if you're trying to plan for the future, maybe go with somebody like with term. Is basically what I got out of that. Well, he has like 4 years left, but he's abysmal defensively. That doesn't really serve your purpose.
yeah. I
I've
that
seen
that
I've
would
seen
make
Leah
no sense.
Bushkin. I've seen Leah Bushkin from Anaheim that came out today. Just if it's a defenseman, they're pretty much going in on it to some capacity.
Yeah, well, dude, it makes you wonder if a fit because obviously, we've seen a lot of names, especially in Calgary, with Hannafin and Tanev. I mean, obviously, it would be a really complex deal to make that work and to make the money work. But I mean, I think Hannafin would be a perfect fit. Exactly what you need. I mean, at least he's young. He'd have to sign, obviously. I mean, he's coming up on
I
the
don't
last
I don't
year.
think I don't think he would.
I
And
don't think.
I don't think Toronto has the money. If they're gonna put all their eggs in a basket, it's gonna be Nylander. And they'll figure the rest out later. But again, I don't think it'll be there. I'm very curious where Hannafin goes and kind of like what that situation looks like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, us being Bruins fans, I mean, there's a lot of connections there. I mean, obviously, I mean, he's been linked to us seems like his entire career, even on draft day, right? Where the reports
And he
were,
wanted him so bad.
yeah. So, I mean, I think it's one of those, even like Taylor Hall, man. Like, I feel like the all the info was there where you knew he wanted to be in Boston, and it just didn't work out. It never worked out. And then that point in time came where there was an opportunity where he could
Yep.
sign in Boston, or you know be
He
in
basically
Boston.
he forced his hand. He
Exactly.
basically had his no move clause. He's like, I want to go there, and we got him for a bag of pucks and a Zamboni driver. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what it came down to. I think the only way a Hannafin deal works for the Boston Bruins is if there's an extension in place.
Yes.
The time is I've missed more time than I go to the Boston Bruins to not trade.
Hey, I think your thing's cutting out, dude.
Am I cutting out?
Yeah, you cut out for like 10 seconds.
No worries. So for me, like the Bruins don't need to trade assets for rentals because you don't really have the need or the assets to do that. If you're the Bruins, you need to trade for him knowing that there's an extension in place. You're not trading for him to
Yeah.
for this year. You're not in the yeah, you're going to be competitive. You're probably going to make the playoffs, but you're not trading for a rental. It's not that type of year. So if you're going to put all your eggs in for Hannafin, you better have an extension in place.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
That's just me.
And I'm all for it, right? Like if you're gonna make that move, I completely agree with you. You have to have an extension in place. He's not a fucking rental. Nor do I think he'd be a rental on any team
I think he
because
would. I think he would. Because if he's not inclined to wanting to sign there, like he can just if a team's desperate enough and wants to add to their top four for a playoff run, then yeah, go get him.
I'm curious what he has for the no movement stuff because I feel
I
like
don't think he has one.
I'd be curious because obviously that would be a big piece of things because
Well, if that's the case, he would just dictate where he wants to go.
yeah.
Let's see here. Noah Hannafin has. Let me see.
Like, dude, I got the opportunity to watch him this summer at the Thayer.
He has a modified no trade clause.
Oh, DeBrusque almost just put one home.
Yeah,
Dude, he's so fucking due for one. Dude, he's so due for a goal.
Dude, this is such a low event game.
Yeah, it's fucking boring.
Like the total opposite of what. Well, actually, it's kind of going almost the way I actually laid out in the pregame. Like each team was going to struggle to find their legs. They both had 3 days off.
Dude, Geeky,
it's gonna be a low scoring game.
Geeky's playing out of his mind.
It's only 1-0. I think you know what? Now that we're just on the topic, I think this is actually going to be the biggest prolonging issue for the Bruins. Like, it's fine in an 82 game season, but I think in a 7-game playoff series, if depth doesn't really score consistently, this team is fucking toast.
Yeah. I mean, that's in a 7-game series. I mean,
in a 7-game series, I think if depth doesn't consistently start scoring, it's just going to be.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
I mean, yeah, you're in trouble. I mean, it works for an 82 game season, but this is a very low event. This is a very low event game for the Devils, to be honest.
Yeah, they flashed to Jack Hughes. He looked extremely frustrated.
Well, I think the Devils also too. My Devils chat's popping off, and they're just the Devils are trying to force everything to the middle, but the Bruins are clogging up the middle. And I'm like, yeah, I pretty much outlined that. In one of my articles, I was like, the Bruins are good at fucking high danger defense. They just are.
Yeah, and I think so. I think we discussed maybe last week or maybe it was the week before that. Someone who I've been really impressed with as of late is Simone Nemec.
Yeah, he's been really good for the
Yeah,
Devils.
he's been almost a point per game.
Yep.
And he I've been really impressed. He just seems a lot more confident in his game. He's not as much of a liability, it doesn't seem like.
Yeah, I mean he's kind of come into his own. Defensively, he has a little bit of hiccups, but overall he's been really strong with the puck and he's made plays offensively, and just his awareness on the ice is absolutely huge. And that's one thing that's been really nice for them is the absence of Dougie Hamilton has turned into the emergence of Luke Hughes and Simone Nemec. The future of the Devils blue line is now the present, and it's actually really fun to watch. They just need fucking goaltending.
Yeah, which who knows what's going to be available. I mean, earlier we mentioned Jordan Bennington, but I don't really see that as a fit.
They're apparently rumors came today from Pagnotta. They're linked to Gibson.
That would be a huge addition. But
I was saying, Gibson's numbers have improved. It's just a matter of making it work. VTech would have to go the other way to make money work.
But as far as prospects and young players, you got to imagine Holtz is going the other way.
I mean, I'd drive him to Newark Airport myself. I mean, honestly, the kid, he's, you know what, and he's not bad, and his best production has actually come with Michael McLeod, which is really bizarre. But
Yeah.
it just works. And it's like the way McLeod plays, it works for Holtz. But, yeah.
Dude, and
I mean, they just need a goalie. I mean, I don't care how talented this team is. Like, you're not going to win anything meaningful with what you have going on in net.
dude, and just watching, like, obviously I don't get to watch the Devils a whole lot, and I know you're a big Devils guy. But man, just watching them, like Simone Nemec, he's not trying to do too much with the puck.
No.
That I've noticed
it's
this
just
game.
fluid.
He headman the puck, move it, skate up. That's it. And he's just looked a lot more confident. But yeah, I mean, goaltending is going to be their fucking. They get John Gibson, dude. I think they're right back top of the Metro. In my opinion.
Yeah, because the margin for error is like very minimal right now. Like everything's close. Like even Carolina, like they're a good team. Their goaltending sucks worse than the Devils does. Like,
yeah,
I don't care that Kochetkov had a phenomenal game last night. Nice diving poke check on the.
Oh, we could talk about that shit.
Yeah, dude, and just like that's great that he had like 2.35 goals saved above expected and played above his ass, but like he's not fucking back. I saw that on Twitter today. Hurricanes fans were like, he's fucking back. No, the fuck he's not. No, the fuck he's not. What the fuck has he done consistently this year? Not a damn thing. Nobody has a net for Carolina. They got a worse save percentage than the Devils do. That's pathetic. If he can win 5 games playing like that, then he's fucking back. He's not back after 1 fucking game.
Is Carolina at 32? Are they 32nd in the league?
For team save percentage?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Ugh.
Last time I checked, they are. The Devils are 31st.
Oh, God.
The Devils are 31st.
And that's why I'm saying, dude, like adding a guy like John Gibson would completely turn the tides for me. Like completely. Because if they
it would definitely I think Gibson would thrive behind a Devils defense. Like the Devils are good team defensively. They just don't have a goalie. And they play a little too open. Yeah, Carolina's 32nd, 871 save percentage.
Yuck. But
and they allow the fewest shots on net per game.
Yeah, and you got to remember with
they average the fewest shots against and have the most shots for per game on an average basis, but have the worst team save percentage. Give me a fucking break. Goaltending's not fucking back. Shut up. It's not fucking back. It's back if you do it consistently. Yeah. 1 fucking game doesn't change that. Granted, the kid played well. I will give Kochetkov that. He played really well, and that shit with Tkachuk was hilarious. What did you think of that play?
I didn't really
think. Did you think it was like a harmless poke check, or do you think he tripped him?
I mean, again, dude, like I think he tried to trip him for sure, but he was well within the rules of what he did. I mean, you can't sit there and tell me that he didn't want to fucking trip Brady Tkachuk.
It was a simple poke check though.
But again, he's well within the rules of how he approached Tkachuk. And you know what? One thing led to another. Did he trip him? Yeah. But he's
fucking missed the puck.
But he's well within the rules, and it's like man, and like just watching that, it's like Tkachuk, it's like, what are you gonna drop him with Kochetkov? Like at that point, man.
Kochetkov is not afraid to mix it up with players. We saw that with Brad Marchand in the playoffs, like 2 seasons. Like he's not afraid to get down to he's not afraid of the smoke. Let's just put it. He's like Jordan Binnington, dude.
All right, I don't know about that. That's
no, like I'm talking like Jordan Binnington wants the smoke but doesn't want to actually fucking fight anybody.
Dude, that reminds me
of the league, and the league robbed us of him and Fleury fighting because Fleury actually was good with it. I was so pissed when they did that. I was dude, we finally got it. Somebody finally wants to ring his bell, and you're not gonna let it happen. That's a fucking shame.
Dude, like the mic'd up version of Fleury going down the ice, and then he's like,
so great. It's great.
Shit was so funny. It is good comedy. It should have happened, but. Going back to the John Gibson talk, dude, like he's 30 years old on a $3.3 million. Oh wait, hold on. Is that what he's making this year?
No, he makes 6.4, and he's got like 4 years left. He's got term. He's not a rental. That's like a.
Why are they showing? Oh, salary. Wrong site. Never mind.
He's got a cap hit of like
6.4.
That's not horrible.
It's not horrible for a starting goalie, but I mean, dude, he's from that area, which I mean, Pittsburgh. It's not crazy far, but around that area.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would make sense. I mean, I think it'd be kind of a cool signing. Like, it would instantly. I said it before. Like, I had them at the beginning of the year at atop the Metro, like finishing first.
Yeah,
I just thought that.
I picked Carolina, but I didn't have New Jersey far behind. I had him in second.
Yeah, and I just think like the emergence of Hughes and just like what he's done for that team, like there really wasn't a doubt for me that they were going to finish first. Obviously, things changed, but I think them bringing in Gibson, dude, would completely not turn things. Yeah, I guess turn things around. Like
it would, because they don't like in the chat like I was like. Devils aren't that good. They're 14-11. I'm like, this is how much I know you don't fucking pay attention. Like,
yeah.
They're not a bad team. They just don't have a goalie. Like, that's their problem. And it's not sustainable to do what they're doing. Like, the Bruins are just playing a very good defensive game right now, and they're just smothering the Devils. But they're not generating a shit ton on VTech either. Shots are tied at 15 apiece. I mean, it's just – but for the Devils, like, if they end up – dropping 6, they got to score 7 to win.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it.
That's not sustainable.
Yeah. A lot
of goals that go in are very like savable goals.
Yeah. The thing is, like you mentioned the Bruins, it's like, but Swayman and Allmark can steal them games. Like,
but even I mean, and that's like, and that's what you want. You want good goaltending, but even then, it's like can't rely on your goaltending to bail you out. You got to have middle ground. You got to have middle ground with both. Like the Devils, you can't outscore your problems. For the Bruins, you can't just, they're human too. You can't rely on them every night to just bail you out save after save. It's kind of funny how it's polar opposite between the two, but, Bruins fans, be blessed that you got 2 number ones when the Devils are struggling with one, trying to figure out who that is. But yeah, John Gibson would be a huge move. I'm just curious what that comes out to be. I imagine a prospect, VTech, and maybe a pick. Second round pick, maybe. It won't be a first. He's not like lighting the league on fire. It'd be like a second, maybe a third, depending on the profile of the prospect.
Because then in my mind, it's like, if you think about it from the perspective of Anaheim, it's like how not top heavy, but it just seems like they have a ton of like young forwards that like just haven't really come into their own yet.
Yeah, and they're still rebuilding. I mean, they have a ways to go.
So in with that being said, would you be more inclined to want like a Simone Nemec?
Not for Gibson. Gibson's not worth a Nemec. Go get like a Seamus Casey. Go get somebody who hasn't even scratched the surface, or like an Alexander Holtz who's still trying to find his way. Not a Nemec.
I think he's going to be good though. I still think he's going to be very good. Nemec.
Yeah, but I'm not trading him for Gibson. You got 2 franchise defensemen. Why would you trade them?
Because you need goaltending. You need goaltending.
Not for Gibson.
Gotta give to get.
You see Saros maybe. Not John Gibson. Not a 30-year-old. No way.
Well, we talked about UC.
That's a pillar of your back end.
Well, we talked about Saros last week.
Yeah, I mean, I would like Nemec for Saros, sure, but
straight up.
Not straight up. It would probably be more than that. Look what they got for Tanner Jeannot. Imagine a goalie who led the league in goals saved above expected last year, and was a large reason you almost made the playoffs. Yeah, I think it'll take a prospect, a VTech, and a pick. Probably a second round pick, VTech, and I would say throw in a Holtz or a Seamus Casey.
Yeah, I'd probably want a first. I would be all right with Casey in a first.
I don't even think a first. I mean, maybe, but definitely a second. Maybe I can't see like a third. But he's 30. Still has good hockey left. But
yeah,
I'm not giving top prospects for him.
Look at Quick right now. I mean, Quick's playing good hockey too.
God, dude, I love it for Quick.
I do too, man.
he didn't get the proper send off he deserved in LA. I think like for that, like to me, he goes down as like an all time like Kings great. Like I could see him, Doughty, and Kopitar having their numbers retired.
Yeah, well,
like but for him to just like look like vintage quick with his childhood team, that's awesome. I love it. Like,
yeah. Well, I got to ask this then. So obviously, it's kind of like a Nashville. Obviously, has that statue of Pecorine. They have to do one a Quick, right?
They did one of Dustin Brown.
They have to do one of Jonathan Quick.
I feel like you have to, like, arguably, like, behind, like, Tim Thomas, like, I think, like, his playoff run was arguably, like, the most enjoyable thing to watch.
Yeah.
Like, he was a fucking psychopath out there. Like, the way he played was just so much fun to watch.
Dude, when
like, he was so good.
They used to have, stories. So he played at Avon, which is in Connecticut, and I believe. But this dude used to cut slits in between his toes and put fucking dip in it to have it go straight to his bloodstream during games.
Dude,
during games.
What a fucking badass.
What a psychopath. That's so fucking sick. Dude. Like and then you know what? Even besides that, you mention it, the fact that he didn't get like a proper send off, like what the fuck is that about, dude?
Like even like I'm not a Kings fan, but I like watching them. They're a very fun team to watch. Like the way they play, very structured, very, just very good team. It's just a team thing over there. Like they don't rely on one person.
Do you think it's because of how bad they were at that point? I mean,
they were, but they weren't like horrible. They made the playoffs.
I thought that was the Byfield year.
No, they made the playoffs last year. But like they traded him to Columbus, and then he got moved to Vegas, and he
which was some bullshit, man. Because he's the type of player that like you would at least try to like work with, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, and Columbus was like, we're not going to keep you here, like, which like I guess it worked. Like they got Gavrikov, but like. I don't know. I just wish he got the proper send off. Like it is what it is now, and he's enjoying life on Broadway, dude.
Yeah, he's living his fucking childhood dream, which is like the perfect ending to, because you got to think, man, this is probably his last go. I mean, I can't see him.
I think he's got like at least this year, maybe another one. I mean, he's a backup at this point, but if he can be like what he is, like. Why not, man? I think he'll just end up staying in New York.
Yeah,
he just wants to retire. I mean, why not?
I could see it. So you bring up, the fact that Columbus moved on from him, and another piece that I want to discuss about Columbus, dude, is this Erik Gudbranson debacle.
I'm sorry.
That shit, dude. I was like, he popped up, and Nick Cousins was kind of a little shit for that, man. Like,
fuck him. Like, I'm sorry.
like I just think the inconsistency like of these hits like from behind, and I think there's some scenarios where players need to learn to brace themselves, right? Like to prepare for a hit. And then there's some like this where it's like you see numbers and you're just fucking driving through players, right?
Yeah. Well,
like
and that's like what you were going to. So like you're talking inconsistencies. Okay, well, there were 3 incidents in the same kind of scenario that were all called different. You had that Robinson kid on Buffalo, and he even let up. He didn't even like go full force.
Yeah.
But he got the penalty. Okay, Oposo, like he had good comments at the end. He's like, all right, you get the penalty, you own it, but like it's inconsistent. And he was referring to Evander Kane, who just gave no shits whatsoever and absolutely unloaded on Jonas Brodin. He didn't get a penalty for that. Cousins like lunged himself, numbers all the way. They gave him a 5-minute and reduced it. Dude, if I'm Gudbranson, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, but then he gets
police it yourself.
and then he gets suspended.
Okay, for a game. You know what? I'll take that suspension all fucking day. Give me 1-game suspensions. Because seriously though, like if you're not going to protect the players on the ice and be consistent, they're going to police it themselves. And that's what he did. And Cousins got nothing for that hit, which was worse than the Robinson one by far.
Yeah, I agree, dude.
Like Cousins, like he didn't get a penalty, he didn't get a 10, he didn't get a suspension, he didn't get a fine, nothing. He didn't get anything. Gudbranson, I'll take that suspension all day. Good for him. I hope he kicks the shit out of him next game. I really do.
Dude, he fucking suplexed him.
Dude, and Cousins, you little weasel. Why would you turtle? Own it. Just own the hit. Like it was a bad hit. And he laid there and he was hurt. I mean, he even like came out with a quote, Gudbranson was like, it felt like I got in a car accident. Okay, like, and the ref didn't call a penalty, he didn't do nothing. So he got up and was ready to kick the shit out of him. I don't blame him one bit for doing that, policing the game himself. I'm not saying what he did was maybe the smartest thing. Like he basically just jumped the guy.
Yeah, dude.
But Cousins fucking deserved it.
Dude, that shit was so like again, just gave zero fucks.
I'm circling the calendar.
Yeah, dude,
circling the calendar.
Which who would have thought you'd be circling the calendar for a fucking Florida Panthers Columbus Blue Jackets game?
Dude, give that, dude. And Cousins, like, I'll never forget after that whole incident, he sat there, got up, and started chirping at Gudbranson. Dude, just own what you did.
Yeah.
Like, you threw a dirty hit. You little dirtbag, you threw a hit. A bad hit. A really bad hit. A dangerous hit.
Do you think that Brodin hit was bad?
It wasn't good.
It's hard,
dude. I feel like you're okay. Like, and I was listening to Chicklets today, and they brought up like the Hathaway hit. The Hathaway hit was very different on Luke Hughes. That was a clean shoulder to shoulder hit. You're talking like guys that are seeing numbers all the way.
Yeah.
And it just, you don't make those hits, and you let up. They're dangerous hits to make. It's the first thing you learn when you play. If you see numbers, just don't even entertain it. It's different when you're going into the wall. Like, say you're just, you're going behind the net to get the puck, and like, you just hit somebody like in the numbers and you're just finishing your check. That's one thing. But like what Cousins did was like bad. He hit him from like below the goal line and like launched him into the fucking boards.
Dude, I'm trying to find this hit, bro.
It's just not a good hit to make. And he deserved every bit of that ass beating. Like,
do you remember who went after him?
Gudbranson.
Oh, Gudbranson. I'm talking to Vander Kane.
Don't know. Don't think anybody did, really.
Yeah, because there was no penalty on the play, I don't think.
No, he did. That was the problem, is the inconsistency. Like, Robinson got a penalty. Kane got nothing, and his was probably worse than Robinson's. And then Gudbranson, the Cousins hit, went ahead, and nothing. It got reduced. Went from a 5 to nothing. It was just bad. Just really, really bad. Like, yeah. I don't know how you can consciously make that and reduce that after reviewing it. Like, you sat there and reviewed it and then reduced it. That hit was bad. I don't blame Gudbranson one bit. I mean, they hear it. There's a microphone. They reduced it. And he took matters into his own hands. See, and that's just inconsistency in officiating.
Looking at the Brodin hit, dude, so obviously he's a left-hand shot. He's going to pick up the puck, and he's acting like he's about to shoot the puck the opposite way. So he kind of shows a little bit that he's not, like, it wasn't complete numbers, right? At being a left-handed shot on the left side of the net, he acted like he was going to go shoot the puck around to his winger. And I think that's where Evander Kane kind of at least saw his face. And then as he turned, there's numbers. So like something like that, it's like that's probably why there.
That's a different scenario, I guess you can say. But the Cousins one, comparing it to like Robinson, it's like light
Yeah.
years apart, and they got it's just. But you're seeing players take matters into their own hands, and you know what? Until I mean, they have to suspend him because you have to set an example. Because if not, you're just going to see guys like taking each other's heads off, and
Oh yeah.
and it just is what it is. But
I mean, dude, you could tell as soon as Goodbranson got up after he was laying on the ice when he fucking
he was
saw red,
pissed.
dude.
He
Holy
was
shit.
pissed.
I mean, and then he, I don't know if it was Cousins that was on the ground, dude. There was someone that was hurt in the
Cousins, he wasn't
scrum,
hurt.
and it was
He wasn't hurt. He was
no,
turtled.
I don't think it was Cousins. I think it was a different Florida player that was on the ice. The original hit, not the not
Yeah,
when not when
Cousins.
Gabranson.
Cousins ended up on the damn ground,
What, he fucking turtle?
and he turtled. He turtled twice. He turtled after the hit, and Goodbranson went after him, and he turtled. And then when he got jumped, he turtled again, got up, and proceeded to try and chirp Goodbranson. How the hell are you gonna chirp, dude? Own your hit. Own your hit. Like,
Dude,
you better keep your head up next game, buddy, because it's coming.
dude, the fucking the second time when Gabranson suplexed him, dude, he got like 4 hits in
Yeah,
while
and
he
that's
was on
why
the
he
ice.
got and that's why he got suspended.
Yeah,
Because
like
you basically just absolutely wailed on a defenseless player, and like it is in the rule book. It's like Rule 46.2 or something like that. But it's like
yeah, but you said it best, dude. It's like
that's
these
like
players
these
these
they're gonna
players are gonna
police the
take it into
game
their own
themselves,
hands.
and you can't blame him.
No, not at all. I don't.
I don't blame him. I mean,
I
I would have did the same thing. Like, okay, you want to call a penalty on this hit? Sure, I'm gonna take matters in my own hands. He had it coming. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah, dude, and kind of staying on, or going to the injury front rather. There were a couple big injuries this past week. Kyle Connor's going to be miss significant time for Winnipeg. Man, he's been
Yeah,
on a
that was
tear.
a vicious knee on knee hit.
I hate those hits, dude.
Something's got
Almost
to give with those.
almost worse than the hit from behind hits. And
Because
and
you can really end somebody's like career.
100%, dude.
Like
100%. And
that's like the biggest thing, and that was a very vicious like knee on knee hit. So him being out 6 to 8 weeks is tough, especially he's like one of their best goal scorers.
dude, there was no doubt in my mind. He was going to hit 50. There was
Oh
no
yeah,
doubt in my mind that he would have hit 50 easily. And that again, dude, they got to find a way. It's just again, the game happens so fast.
but you got to
And
penalize people or fine them or something. Like you can't.
yeah,
There's got to be like a knee on knee penalty of some sort, because someone's gonna get really hurt, and that's when they're gonna make a change.
yeah, and not only you risk hurting another player, you can fucking hurt yourself doing that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And it's like they're fucking gruesome. And it's like
yeah,
every time they slow it down and show you the hit, it looks horrible. Like
yeah.
it looks
Oh yeah,
on purpose
yeah,
every time.
yeah.
And yeah, it's just unfortunate. And then also another big one was Dylan Larkin for the
That was scary.
it was, dude. I didn't know he had a history of that kind of like I want to get the exact
He got hit by Joseph in the head last year.
same guy,
Yeah,
dude. And
go that play was just scary. Like, I mean, again, the game happens so fast, and you just front net battle. I mean, he just like limped down like a rag doll, dude. That was scary, and he didn't move. So it just
no,
like guys just like laying there, and
yeah.
I'm not saying I would have necessarily went the route Perron went. His 6-game suspension is worthy of sitting. From a human perspective, I get it. Like,
Well,
That's your captain, and he's
Yeah.
just laying there motionless.
It's tough to see.
And it's tough to see. And he went after the wrong guy. It wasn't even the right guy. Poor Zub just took a stick to the dome, and dude, he had nothing to do with that hit. And it's just like Perron turned around, saw his captain down, saw that guy standing over him, and just fucking went after it. And you know what? I think anybody on any other team would have done some, like, maybe not that, but they definitely would have jumped somebody. Because like we were talking about on the pregame, like, dude, imagine like Patrice Bergeron.
Oh my God.
Dude, the whole bench would have just got off and just jumped the whole team. And I feel like that's just like an appropriate reaction.
Yeah.
But Perron crossed a line, and you just don't do what he did. That's just a dirty play. And you want to beat the crap out of someone for it, be my guest. But that was just not a good play to me.
Yeah, it was a scary. I mean, that.
And I hope Dylan Larkin's okay. He's out indefinitely. There's no timeline for his return. I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he was having a really good year. He has like really awesome line mates. Detroit's playing really good hockey.
Yeah.
But you just don't want to see that guy. You know, you don't want to see anybody laying down like that, and just super, super unfortunate. And hope he has a really good recovery. And
yeah, and they're you mentioned it. They're playing good hockey. Showtime's back. Like he finally got his first. The Selly was absolutely electric. It just they're fun to watch. And I was at the Bruins Black Friday game, and they're a fucking good team. Mo Seider's playing well. Like, and this isn't, talking about the rest of the team isn't to take away from the injury, but they're playing good hockey, and it's unfortunate, especially their captain.
Yeah.
And hopefully he just, he recovers well, and he's back soon. I mean, it sucks. But moving on, I mean, did you get a chance to watch any of that Chicago Edmonton game last night?
I did. It was the Battle of the Connors, man. I mean, that release Bedard has.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's just Kid was just he's just ready for the NHL, and then McDavid's on a tear right now, and just
he's a lock for the Calder, right? Is there anyone that's going to come close to him?
At this point, I feel like he's starting to like really run away with it. I think you could have made a case that there's people that are, teetering behind him closely, but now I think he just is. Like, I think he's running away with it. I mean, I would give it to Bedard. Maybe for top 3, I would throw Luke Hughes at second. Not even being biased, I think he's just been really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And third, I mean, I'd say maybe Adam Fantilli, and I'd call him fucking day. But I think at this point, Bedard is like at a different tier, and then everybody else is just like, I think the gap is widened where at one point it was like, damn, there's a lot of good rookies, and there still are a lot of good rookies. This is a great rookie class, but I think Bedard is just running away with it at this point.
Yeah, I think what was so underrated about that play and that release is who he did that around in Matthias Ekholm, who's so sound defensively, and he made it look so easy. Again, the puck placement, that release is the best in the league. There's no one, I mean, maybe Austin Matthews, but there's no one I can think of that has a release like that. I mean, it was
his shot is like super NHL ready. Like,
and again, as a goaltender, how do you even stop that, dude? You kind of assume that Ekholm's either going to put a body on him or in that spot going down the left-hand side as a right-handed shot, you got to assume that they're going to at least take the body. How does he, with speed, get momentum, come through the neutral zone, and get that opportunity? It just, you can't let players like that get that open.
Oh, yeah. His body position on that play was just nuts.
Yeah, I mean, he knows, and he looks like a seasoned vet out there. Knows exactly what he's doing. Like,
And
Yeah,
he's got like nobody. And he's got like nobody to play with.
no,
He's got like nobody to play with.
and that will come with time. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
they're still bottom of the league right now, and man, how fucking fun would it be to see a guy like Macklin Celebrini go there? I, dude,
It's
if you could,
possible, considering like the Sharks are like emerging. But thank God for the lottery, even though I could totally see them getting it because, yeah,
I mean, yeah, well, that's a conversation for a different
it's a
day, but
conversation for a different day.
yeah, but it would be fun to watch. I mean, it's a serious possibility that Macklin Celebrini ends up there. You've seen what he's been doing in college hockey as a 17-year-old, which is
Oh yeah,
I think it was Spittin' Chicklets that were saying that he's like 8 months younger than like his birth year. I forgot what the actual stat was or whatever, but he's playing super young age, which is it's just doesn't happen very often. And not to mention, I believe he's second in scoring in the nation. Let me check that first because I think he was either second or tied for second. Um, but again, to do it in Hockey East, it's ridiculous, dude. And luckily I got the opportunity to watch him, and yeah, so he's second right now in scoring with 10 goals, 12 assists. Sorry, 10 goals, 15 assists for 25 points, and he's averaging 1.67 points a game as a
that's
freshman
nuts. Yeah, that's
in
nuts.
in 15 games, which is ridiculous. Like,
I mean, as much as I wouldn't, like Chicago doesn't necessarily deserve a new dynamic duo right away, but like Celebrini and Bedard would be insanely fun.
you got to wonder if they'd put them on the same line to start with, because I mean, I feel like you
Probably.
kind of have to, right?
What else are you gonna do?
Stink again and hope for the number
Fuck
one
else are
pick
you
for the third year in a row.
fuck else are you gonna do? You don't have any talent.
You
Like Anthony Beauvillier's on his line. I mean, I'm not shitting on Beauvillier, but like it's not threading the needle. Like Chicago is literally as bad as they are. They just are, and it
I
was
think
expected. But
I think
they're
at
just
that
bad.
point you got to roll Bedard, Celebrini, and Big Wino Felino. I think it's the
If
only
he
thing
stays,
that
if he stays another year,
I think it's the only thing you can do to save the franchise.
that's sad. If that's what you're doing to save the franchise, they got
I
a long way
mean,
to go. They got
stick
a
them
long.
with Halsey,
Jer-
dude. I love Halsey.
Jared Tenorti is their second pair defenseman. He's like a seventh or eighth on most teams. Like
I mean,
that's how far away they are.
you don't see him gunning for a Norris anytime soon.
No,
Bring him back to Boston, dude. He can pair with Forbert.
that would be a nightmare. That'd be a nightmare.
No, but
Oh
man, I mean, unless is there anything else you wanted to touch on? I mean, that's
no, we'll save the juicy stuff for next episode.
yeah. We got I think coming up next episode, we're
I'll
gonna be
give like a little tease. We're gonna break down the projected Olympic rosters. We're gonna debate those.
yeah. It's gonna be. I mean, we even started.
Because I really do think like the U.S. has a chance.
You're fucking crazy. But anyways,
You know what I am crazy, and we're gonna debate it next episode.
you know what? I'm just as fucking crazy as you are, and that's what makes us work. So,
Yep.
but yeah, so we got that. We're gonna break down the Olympic rosters. I've got a top 5 mock draft coming out. It'll be out this week, and hopefully, every week I'll be able to do 5 picks or so, and just be able to break those down a little bit, based
Sure.
on where the teams are in the standings. So that'll be a fun little segment. And then obviously we're just gonna, next week we'll have Zach back. He's at the game right now, the Bruins Devils. So hope he's having a blast. But yeah, man. I mean, coming up, we have an interview with another U.S. National Development Program player, forward Teddy Stiga, and man, this was a cool interview. He's from Mass, which was so cool. I mean, we were able to kind of connect on that, just both being from Mass, and he's committed to BC. Not committed. He actually signed just a few weeks back. So He's fired up about that. He talks about um, his relationship with the Will Smith, Gabe Perreault, and Ryan Leonard, who were on the U.S. National Development Program team last year.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and it just was an awesome interview. So without further ado, here's Teddy Stiga. Take care, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. We are joined by Teddy Stiga, who is a centerman winger for
Yeah, I play
the
both.
for the U.S. National Development Program. Just recently signed officially with Boston College, so that's awesome. And yeah, man, first off, I want to congratulate you, for doing that. That's huge, and obviously they're friggin' wagon at this point. You got to do it next to your buddies. Talk to us about what that process was like, and ultimately that day that you got to, officially sign next to your buddies.
Yeah, that was a great experience. Finally putting it on paper, making it official with James and Skahan, it was great.
Yeah, dude, and like I said, that's you're joining an already loaded team. What made you? Was it certain people that made you commit, or was it just the campus itself? What made you fall in love with BC, and what players that are already there are you most looking forward to playing with?
Yeah, I think it's like a little bit of both. Obviously, like I saw all the O5s and what they're doing there right now this year. I mean, they're tearing it up. And yeah, it's just great coaching staff, great players, great campus, great school, kind of everything you would want. Yeah, I'm excited to play with everyone. They're all great players and great teams, so should be fun.
Yeah, so you being from Sudbury, Mass, were there any other Hockey East schools that you kind of caught your eye, or other schools that you went and visited that you really liked?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to go to a school in Boston, so I kind of was narrowing it down to like the three major Boston schools, BU, Harvard, and BC, and it was kind of just felt right for me and my family, and the combination of the campus and program and school and everything, and yeah, it was just a great fit.
And we mentioned earlier that BC already has that loaded group. Obviously they were all National Development Program players last year. Will Smith, Gabe Perreault, Ryan Leonard. Have any of those guys reached out to you at all? Kind of tell you what to expect at BC. And what specifically are you looking forward to bringing to that program alongside those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a few of the guys, especially over the summer. I've skated with a few of them. Just they're excited for the year, and they're obviously doing great things right now. And yeah, I think I'm just excited. I'm not sure right now who's going to be staying out of that core group, but I think no matter what, it'll still be a great team, and just to help the team win as much best as I can. So.
Yeah, and growing up, was there a player that you really idolized, and even now, a player in the NHL that you really try to emulate your game after?
Yeah, I think there's like a bunch of players that I loved watching and tried to emulate my game after. I think being a Bruins fan, I liked Marchand and Bergeron, those guys, kind of trying to pull from them. I like Hagel on Tampa Bay. I think he's a great player. I like how he can PK and PP and kind of do it all.
I think he's so underrated, dude. Like
Yeah,
I don't think he gets enough. Even now in Tampa, I really thought so in his time in Chicago, but even more so now in Tampa that he's
yeah.
kind of flying under the radar there. Like he's still fucking nasty.
Yeah, he put up like sneaky like 30 goals last year, and like no one, you don't hear anything about him.
Yeah, exactly, dude. So growing up, who would you credit most for getting you into the game of hockey, helping you fall in love with the game of hockey, and obviously to the point that you're at now? Who's kind of been there and helped you most throughout your career so far?
Yeah, I think it's kind of obvious answer. My parents, we lived by a rink only 10 minutes down the road, so did learn to skate there. That was where my the first team I played on was there, and then my dad especially, we'd build a rink in the backyard every year, and we'd always stay out there playing one-on-ones against each other and just shooting around. So
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. And so recently we've had, here on Drop the Mitts, we've had a couple of other your buddies on, Cole Hudson, Brody. Um, just recently we had Camille on. and we've actually had a few like parents reach out to us, um, and wanting to know like exactly what your like training regimen was like to get to this point. Because like obviously, I think a lot of kids growing up think it's just going to practice, right, and then going to skate for an hour and then going home. But to get to the point that you're at, it takes so much more diet, everything. So we've had a few parents reach out and want to know like exactly what your training regimen was to help you get to this point.
Yeah, obviously, I think you got to put in the work, and I mean, we still have a lot of work to put in now. I think growing up, obviously, practiced and worked out and stuff, but I think just kind of on my own. Obviously, I have a shooting lane down in my basement that I used a lot, and I just be down there stick handling and shooting and stuff. And then, like I said, I had the rink in my house. I'd use that every night basically, and then yeah, I think it's just like loving the game also too, kind of, and just not it being like your parents having to tell you to go shoot and stick handle and whatever, and kind of just liking what you're doing, I guess I would say. And then even from when I was a youth player to now, like here at the NTDP, like our program changed drastically. Like we work out for 2 hours a day. I never have worked out this hard in my life, and we eat way better and way more food. So I think every step of the way you're gonna have to tweak what you're doing, but yeah, just love what you're doing, I would say.
Yeah, that's awesome advice, man. Because, like you said, it's not just going to the practice for an hour. Like, there's so many more, things that go into it, right? And another thing is, obviously you're a 17-year-old kid, and right, and you're draft eligible this year. And a lot of people forget that you guys are still just kids, like 17 years old, away from home, obviously at this point. Like, talk to us about what a day like in your life is at this point as a 17-year-old kid kind of living on his own, being away from Massachusetts obviously, and um talk to us about what like a day in the life in for Teddy Stiga is.
Yeah, first off, like my billet situation, I live with three guys on the team. Charlie Pardue, his family moved out here, and three of us live here. Nick Kempf and Lapointe. It's great being with them every day. We're always doing something. It's always fun. So, we usually wake up around 7, get breakfast. Miss Pardue makes some great breakfast, so we get some good food in us, and then we go to the rink and we have school usually for 2 hours, and then we're on the ice for 2 hours, and then we're in the gym for 2 hours, and then after that you can stretch, shoot pucks, do whatever you need to do to get ready for the next day, and then we go home, play cards, Xbox, watch a movie, something like that, kind of just relax, do homework, whatever it is, and yeah.
Yeah, dude, honestly, like I think a lot of our listeners too, like especially they didn't realize how much actually goes into it. Like you guys aren't just playing hockey. Like there's so much more that goes into it. You guys are lifting weights every day. You guys are playing games, practicing. Like um, that's one of the newer questions we had. Someone wanted us to ask, but kind of going back to your earlier days playing. You played prep at Belmont Hill. Um, you had a great season the one year you were there. You were almost a point per game player. 7 goals, 14 assists. What did that one year of prep kind of do to help you get to that next level? Because obviously the competition in that, was phenomenal with, you had Nobles in that division,
Yeah.
St. Seb's, Thayer, just to name a few.
Mhm.
What did that one year of prep do for your development?
Yeah, that was huge. I think that was the first year I'd really like, or that year I played U16, so that was kind of my first year playing up a birth year, I guess I would say. And then prep, obviously, it's you're playing a few guys a few years older than you for the first time, so it was good to get kind of used to playing against older guys, faster pace, bigger bodies, and I think yeah, prep hockey that year was loaded. There was I think like 4 or 5 guys drafted out of prep that year. Is pretty crazy. And our team went for a pretty good run, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, dude, I remember like especially that was one of the first years that I was actually home, moved back from Mass, and I remember just going to those games because one of my buddies works at Thayer Academy, and so
Hmm.
I would just any chance I got to go watch these because it was fucking loaded. Like, and you mentioned it, they're like 5 kids got drafted, and how hard it is to get drafted, especially straight out of prep. It's unheard of,
Yeah, definitely.
and Yeah, and obviously you had a phenomenal year at Belmont. Um, so it to kind of fast forward a little bit, 2022, 2023, you won the U17 World Hockey Championship. You won gold. Um, what was that tournament like? Because obviously you're playing different countries, the best of the best. Um, what were some of your favorite and best memories of that tournament? And then ultimately you're, winning gold.
Yeah, that was our first international tournament of the year last year, and first time kind of leaving the country with our team, and it was a great experience. It was really long. We didn't know we would be there for so long. We were there for like 2 weeks or something in the same hotel room, so it kind of got dog days. It felt like we were there forever, but it was a great tournament. Our team was unreal. I think James and Cole both broke records that tournament, and we were just rolling. And I think some of the best memories were just being with the guys at the hotel and in the locker room and stuff, and on the off days, and just it was the start of the year, so we're still getting to know each other a little bit and just kind of creating relationships and friendships and whatnot. And yeah, it was an awesome tournament.
So, like, not this specific tournament, but like on off days, are you guys all hanging out like as a group, or is it just like the people you're living with?
Yeah, we do like everything as a group. We breakfast, we all kind of go to a spot and just hang out always, and then a bunch of guys will go to like Buffalo Wild Wings for lunch, watch football on an off day and stuff like that. Yeah, we're always together. Go to the rink, do what you need to.
Yeah, and like being, I've been graced with the opportunity to speak with a lot of you guys, and it just seems like you guys are such a close group. Would you say that that plays like a huge role in like your team's success?
Yeah, I would say what I think playing with guys you don't like, or you kind of are, I don't know, thinking badly of them on the ice. It's hard to play with them, and I think we all love each other and know that we're all great, and it makes it so much easier to play with everyone.
Yeah, and this year you got the opportunity to go play at BU, which you had the crowd there, that college feel. What was that like playing in that at Aganis and just in that environment? Like, were you getting chirped pretty bad? Like, how was it?
Yeah, that was a sick game. It was pretty packed, and then coming back to Boston, I had a lot of friends and family at the game. No, I wasn't getting chirped too hard. There wasn't really much chirping that game because we were winning. I think it would have been a little different if we were losing that game, but yeah, it was a great game, sick atmosphere, and should be fun playing there soon. So.
Was that? Would you say like out of all the rinks that you've played at this year, and even just in your life, playing, was that your favorite kind of barn that you've played in so far?
Yeah, that was definitely one of my top three. It was especially just like the atmosphere, like the student section and stuff. It was sick.
So, and your stats this year, dude, speak for, you're putting the puck in the net like, like no other, but what would you say is the biggest contributing factor to your personal success this year? Um Especially just the amount of goals that you've put up so far. What would you say is the biggest contributing factor to your success?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of kind of everything. I think the end of last year I got hurt and I was able to work out every day and kind of I put on like 15 pounds of muscle. I was always undersized a little bit, and being able to kind of get more physically mature, I guess, definitely helped a lot. And over the summer I shot for like an hour every day, more than I've ever done. Like I never really had a strict plan, but I did this summer, kind of like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I tighten that up, and I think I've been seeing a lot of improvements. And then also just playing a little more confidently this year, I would say has been big.
So like with all your success, obviously there's areas that you personally, I would assume, want to work on. Especially as, this year kind of finishes out and you get closer to the draft and combine and everything. What are some areas of your game that you are like really kind of focusing on tightening up?
Yeah, I think kind of you want to obviously get better at everything. There's always room for improvement. I think right now I kind of been working in the gym more on kind of my like explosivity and getting my like three first strides a lot like harder and more powerful. I think I'm a good skater, but if I could get a lot more explosive, it could really help me. So that's kind of what I've been working on.
Yeah, and I'd love to ask this question. as we've mentioned a couple times, draft eligible this year. It's going to be one of the last drafts, probably. It's going to be in Vegas. Um, what type of person would you say on and off the ice? A team that takes a chance on you and drafts you. What type of person on and off the ice would you say they're getting in Teddy Stiga?
Yeah, I think they're getting a good person who's a good person first, and then a good player second. I think I love to compete, love to battle, and I'll do what it takes to win. So yeah.
I got to ask this question, man. Obviously, I know like it would be a dream come true for you to get drafted wherever, though. But I got to ask: is there a part of you that really, really hopes that you end up back in Beantown?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, it'd be an honor to go anywhere. But yeah, definitely, Bruins are my favorite team. Grew up watching them, so that would be pretty special.
Yeah, they're insane this year too, which is kind of
Yeah,
surprising with Bergie and Krejci leaving. But
yeah,
well, hey man, that's those are all the questions I've got for you. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to come chat with us. Um, I wish you the best of luck the rest of the year, and obviously, come draft time, man, any team is going to be lucky to get you on their team, and wish you the best, buddy.
yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Take care.
Thank you.